Hello guys, and welcome to another trading week. We're going to be sharing with you our thoughts for this new week. Now last week was an interesting one, saying that what we told you was what exactly played out, right? We told you guys that last week we're most likely going to see consolidations happen, and as you can see, as the week opened, we just saw consolidation throughout that week, right? I drew this box for you guys right here, and you can see price just consolidated within this entire range. It didn't break out of it, it didn't break below it, it didn't break above it. Now, in this new week, what are we going to be doing? That's the question, right? Now, the analysis for this new week is similar to this previous analysis for last week. We're just going to delete a few things and then we're going to do the top-down analysis again. All right, so let's delete this. All right, so we deleted most of what we need to delete. Now, in this new week, this is the daily time frame that we have right here. So we're going to go to the higher time frame, the monthly time frame. But before we do that, we're going to leave this other one right there. All right, but let's go to the monthly time frame. So looking at the monthly, we can clearly see that gold is still pointing to the downside, and right now the month of July has closed with a green candle but with a massive rejection to the downside, right? But it's still green. So what can we expect in this new month of August that we're in? Now what we can expect is the price will most likely come back up to fill up this rejection week. This week right here, price is most likely going to go up to fill it up and probably even take liquidity from this fair value gap that we have here on the monthly time frame. You can see it. Now if you look closely, we can see that we have this level that we've already marked out quite some time ago. This is the monthly resistance. This is a this is a key monthly resistance level, right? Sorry. And right here we also have a 50 fib level on the monthly candle of this the month of June. All right, so this 50 fib level I think is a key level for us to take note of, and this other level right here, which is 4367, also is a key level. So the first key level we can see on the monthly is this level, which is 4258, and the next level is 4367 level. All right, so these two levels are levels that we're going to be keeping our eye on. So we know that price will most likely come up into this first level, which is 4258, and then we'll start seeing rejections from there. So we're expecting for price to come and take liquidity from 4205 level. So let's also mark this 4205 level as the point where the fair value gap liquidity starts from. All right, so let's go to the weekly. Let's see what the weekly is looking like. Now looking at the weekly, we can see that price is also still pointing to the downside, but we can see this consolidation right here on the weekly, right? So what can we expect again? So we marked out this level right here, which is the start of the liquidity, the fair value gap where it starts from, right? So which is 4203 level, all right, or 4204 level. Now we already have this previous WR2 right here, which we're going to still leave there. All right, so we're going to mark this other level right here. Now this is going to be our WR1 level, and we're going to mark this other level right here. And this other level is going to be our WR2, which is 4326. Now I know the lines are now beginning to look like they're plenty, but let's leave that. Let's not bother ourselves with that. Now let's remove this other one, since we marked those areas to know exactly the points that we should be looking for rejections from. All right, so we've marked a new WR1 and a new WR2, and it's good that this WR1 is just right beneath this 50% monthly fib, which we know that price should most likely tap into this monthly fib level. And if price breaks above it clearly, then we know that price is going to be going into this WR2, right, which is close to this MR. All right, so let's just leave that. We're going to leave this other one there, so it's quite simple. Now what can we expect? Now we know that we're expecting price to push up into this zone for us to start looking for our rejections downwards. Now guys, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, right? Make sure you watch this video to the end also. All right, so now one other thing we could expect is that price would most likely give us some liquidity sweep before pushing up to the upside, right? So it's possible that we could see price come down first, take liquidity from one of these levels, either from this level right here, which is 3959 level, or come down even lower to take all this liquidity and then start to push up into this zone before we can now start to see our drop downwards. So it's something of this nature. I think this is what we're going to be looking out for. But let's go down to the daily first. Let's see what the daily looks like. Now, looking at the daily, now we can see this whole consolidation that we spoke about that's been going on. So it just makes sense that we could expect price to come down to take liquidity. Now we know that we're expecting price to come up into these zones, this 50 monthly percent fib level to give us ourselves, and this WL2 level also to give us ourselves. All right. So what can we expect? Like I said, we could just start the week with a gap, downwards. It could open with a gap upwards or a gap downwards, right? But we could also, like I said, we could try to capitalize on the buys, but I'm going to be very careful with buys because majorly I'm going to be looking for sells. So, but if we open with a gap downwards, we might come down to take liquidity from 4,000 level. After taking liquidity, we might see an opportunity to buy upwards again. All right, and once price buys upwards, then we can now start looking out for the sells that we're talking about, right? Or like we already said earlier, price could actually even drop even much lower, open with the gap much lower, take all this liquidity and then start to push upwards before we start seeing the drop that we're looking for from these key levels. So let's go to the 4-hour. Let's see what the 4-hour is looking like. Now looking at the 4-hour, yes, we can now see things clearer. It's still the same thing we're saying. All right, so price will most likely come down, take liquidity from here and then push upwards. So if you see the opportunity to buy, you can buy, you can take it. But like I said, I'm going to be very careful on the buys because I'm going to be majorly waiting for the sells, right? So once price gets into this key level, which the first level is going to be 4258 level, between 4219 and 4258 level, I'm going to be looking for my first set of sells. If that level doesn't hold and it breaks higher, then we're going to be looking at 4326 and 4367 level. Then if that breaks higher, then we know that okay, price is actually going to push a bit more higher. All right, so I think that's all I can have. That's all I can say for now. So let's just see how everything goes next week. All right, so this is my thought on the chart. So let me know in the comment section what you're going to be looking out for. So that's it, guys. Do hope you have a wonderful trading week. Peace out, guys. Bye.